Hey everybody, welcome to Don't Worry When's Unacceptable. Unacceptable delay. I agree.
Oh my. Sorry about that. Unacceptable delay. Now, is that. You know what? I'll refund you, cats. I'll
Yep,
refund
you get
you.
a full refund. You
Yeah.
get a refund, and you get a refund, and you get a refund.
Oh man.
I sound a little crunchy. Do I sound a little crunchy?
Yeah, unfortunately,
I sound a little different.
I think your mic is too close to your mouth or
It's
something.
too close to my mouth. I'll move it
Yeah,
away from my mouth.
perfect. There we go.
Now it's away from
Crunch,
my mouth. We'll see. Oh
crunch
yeah, it was
slightly
because I was up
removed.
here and it was clipping.
Yeah,
That's the sound of clipping.
I love
Okay.
clipping, but I like clipping like bags shut and like clipping, like art to my wall, but not necessarily audio clipping. Audio clipping is never really something I like too much,
hmm Yeah,
unless
I'm
it's
not a big fan
bass.
of that either. And I can well, and the other thing too is you might have to monitor my volume a little bit because I can adjust it. I can look over here and see if I'm clipping. I'm working
Yeah.
with different equipment today. I'm in a different location. Yes, I escaped the forest. I'm on vacation, and I'm still here with you guys because I love you guys.
That's awesome. Thanks, Joe.
hmm
You're awesome.
So I'm coming to you. You're awesome.
No, I love you.
I'm coming. I'm actually um Yes, it's going to be higher pitched than usual because
Because the mic can't pick up.
I don't have my normal awesome podcasting mic that I usually use for this show. Um this is a different mic and a different interface and a different everything.
Yeah.
And it's running in a laptop.
I'll pull my
And
mic. If you want, I can pull my mic closer so that they can get the equal amount of bass that they're used to for the show. And I'll just talk like this the whole time,
well
And then
then
we'll just have
you're
a nice
clipping.
show.
You're clipping.
Oh, well, you know what? I don't care if I clip. I just don't want you to clip, Because if I sound bad, it's fine. If I sound bad, it's fine.
Uh, oh. Oh,
But you
really?
don't deserve
Okay.
to sound bad, You're awesome, so
You're awesome.
you should sound like it.
I may have escaped the psychedelic mushroom forest, but I now am in like the forest.
That's true.
Because I'm in the I'm in the UP in the middle of I'm in the headquarters in the office of Independence Fuel Distributor of
Mhm.
Upper Michigan. Um no, not the
Not the
game.
game.
The actual in real life, the IRL forest.
Wait, those
Like I
exist
spent
still?
they do. Only in the
Mm,
UP of
only in the
Michigan,
UP.
apparently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, so I'm visiting with my brother, and they all went to bed
Mm,
because they go to bed early,
mm.
and I was like, okay, and they set me up in the office, and they're like, hey, yeah, you can feel free to do Don't Worry Wednesday from the office, and so I was like, okay, so here I am, and here you are.
I am. And here you guys are. Welcome, by the way.
Uh huh.
Thank you guys
Yeah.
for thanks
Welcome.
for being here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is our favorite part of the week, probably, just to be able to do this show. It's so rewarding to be able to just be with you guys and to give and to attempt to help through problems and stuff. I think that's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. It's actually, you're absolutely right. It is one of the best times because, we get to try and we get to set our own troubles aside,
Yeah.
and we get to focus on trying to help another person's. And that's a real clue to living in general, I think,
Yeah.
because when we decide to work and help with another person's troubles, what it does is it takes our mind off of our own, and it kind of forces us into this helping another person mode, and it helps us to feel better about our own situation.
Mm,
A lot of times it works really, really well. So you
yeah.
guys are awesome. I'm so glad that you guys are here with us, on a weekly basis. Like, you guys are so awesome to hang
Mm,
out with. That's the other reason I like doing the show. Not because we get to talk and we get to do all this kind of stuff, but we get to hang out with some of the awesomest people in the world. And yes,
awesomest.
awesomest is a word.
I like that word. Awesomest.
Mm-hmm.
It rings
Yep.
well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I am in light mode, Alfonso. Yep, I
The
am.
light. Oh, ouch. My eyes. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, I can't turn it down for you. I can't on OBS. I can't turn it to dark mode for you guys. I mean, I could, but you wouldn't be able to see Joe very well. So
Yeah, I tried a few different things with lighting, and this was the best I could do. So,
yeah.
but
Yeah, we're
yeah,
just
but it's
happy to
great
have
to
you.
be here. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's
Mhm.
great. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. It's a show that we do on Wednesdays. It's all about you guys, your stuff going on in your life. And we're just happy to be here. If you have anything that you would like us to talk about, you can go to don'tworrywednesday.com, click the submit a topic button, and fill out the little form. We just got a whole bunch. I processed a whole bunch
Thanks for
of
doing that.
new topics today, like 7 of them. It was great. I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at all these." Like you guys have been submitting some topics and it's awesome and they're great. So, yeah, I'm excited to jump right in, but I wanted to go through the legal disclaimer first.
Yeah,
We are
absolutely.
not professional therapists, we're not professional attorneys, we're not professional police officers, we're not professional accountants or anything like that. We cannot offer you professional advice in any way, and we're not a substitute for professional advice or counseling or anything. But what we do want to do is be your friend. We want to help in any way we possibly can. We want to help walk through any of these issues, challenges that you might be walking through. Because you know what? Let's just be honest. Life can be really tough sometimes. There
Hmm.
can be times when life can just knock you over or punch you in the gut or kick you in
Oh
the
yeah.
teeth or whatever you want to call it. And sometimes you're just sitting there all beaten and bloodied and broken for a little bit. Could I represent you in court?
Oh, oh, I hope we don't go to court anytime soon.
Are you going to court? Like DM me. I mean, I'll be happy to
Oh wait, no,
help you.
you represent them. Okay, wow, yeah. What do you got? You shouldn't. Okay.
I mean, if you need an actual attorney, I would recommend an attorney.
I would recommend an actual attorney. Yeah,
But
that's funny.
yeah, I mean, if you got something coming up, feel free to DM me. I've spent a decent fair amount of time in court. I might be able to shed some light on what that experience is like.
Mm.
Um, don't ask questions you don't want answers to. Well, let's say I don't want answers to those kind of questions. I never ask questions I don't want answers to. If I
I
ask a
do.
question, I'm going to want an answer.
I do.
You ask questions you don't want
Oh
answers
yeah.
to?
Oh yeah.
Then why do you ask them?
Because it makes the other person feel good.
Really?
Yeah. Because like, for example, if you're not
Or
interested in
does it?
cars, if you are like me and you're not interested in automobiles whatsoever, but
Mhm.
appreciate the person and their passion for it, I don't mind asking them questions like, I really don't care like what this means because I'm not passionate about cars, but I'll ask you about the cars anyways because they enjoy it, and I get a taste of their passion, and I can join them in that and learn, even if I don't necessarily care all that much.
Mhm. Well, that's a little bit different. Like I think the question I think the the crux of the statement was like um like don't ask a question that you don't want to actually know the answer to. Like
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's different. See,
not
yeah,
that
there's
if
a
it's
distinction between
not that if
like,
there's like if you're not all that interested in the topic because you
hmm
can be interested in the person
yeah,
and like really like there's lots of stuff that I'm not all that interested in, but I find somebody who is interested in that stuff and so I'll ask them about it
hmm
because I'm interested in getting to know them.
yeah, absolutely.
And so like I'm not all that interested in sports, but I'm interested in going to watch my sons play sports
Hmm.
and because I'm interested in my sons and I'll talk to them about it and it but it's about them, right? It's not
Right,
about the sport.
right.
I don't go out of my way to watch a basketball game, but I'll go out of my way for miles and miles and hours to watch my son play basketball.
Hmm.
Um
Right.
but
Yeah,
anyway,
I misunderstood the context.
I see.
Yeah.
um But anyway, all right. So legal disclaimer out of the way. Let's jump in. We got a whole bunch of topics. We got some good ones here. We've got some new ones, some old ones. We've got a bunch from Yozo. Yozo, it's great to see you. We haven't seen you in a while. I know you've been working hard, going to college.
Yeah,
and I'm proud of you
awesome.
for that. And yeah. Okay, as far as staying up late. Oh yeah, you got a good sleep schedule. Hey, you know what? It's great to
I'm
have
proud
you
of you.
here.
I'm happy that you kind of got that worked out, because I know for like years, I think it seemed like your sleep schedule is everywhere. So way to go. But yeah, I mean, let's take advantage of the fact that you're here. Maybe, I don't know. It's up to Joe, whatever topic he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a handful of them. Do you have one in specifically? If we were going to do one of your topics tonight, Yozo, would you have us do one of your old ones? You've got one called Get Good. You've got one called Ice. And then you have a loneliness and missing someone. You have one about boredom and one about mashed potatoes. And so
that is
curious.
a very somber topic. Mashed potatoes.
Yes. Do you have a specific topic that you would like us to do?
Ice, baby.
And if I don't hear from you wait, you're going to let Ryan choose?
Okay. I'm going to do the one that I think is probably the most emotionally
Only
significant.
one of them is marked urgent. Of all of those. Well, no, 3 of them actually, but one of the new ones is marked urgent.
Okay, Joe, I'm gonna give you 2. You can pick which one you want to do between those 2.
Wait, no. He said Yozo said Ryan.
Okay, fine. You see,
I'm trying to get out of this.
Okay, let's talk about boredom. That one is a great one to talk about, and there's a lot we can say about it, and it's marked urgent. So let's do it.
Okay, cool. Well, we will start with the boredom topic. This one came in from Yosua. It's titled Boredom, and it's a really simple one. Let me know when you have it up on the screen, and we can read it out loud.
I will. I'm just gonna go ahead and... Oh, yeah, that is real simple. We switch to that topic screen. There you are. There you have it.
There you go.
That is
the question. It reads, "How do I deal with boredom?"
How do I deal with boredom? That is a great question.
And it was nice and to the point, and like right there for all of us to see.
Yeah.
So
I do appreciate that a lot about a lot of Yosua's topics. They're just one-line questions. But I do also like the other ones that are like 3 paragraphs long, so it's fine.
Yeah, the short ones are easy to come up with a summary for, because like the summary is
just
the same length as the time. Right, exactly.
Yeah. It's real convenient.
But you know what, though? I will say, a lot of times when we're unpacking a topic, especially one that hits pretty hard, like sometimes you got to have some context, you got to have some details, or else we probably won't do the topic service. So it's not to say keep your topics short.
No.
I'm just saying.
Plus, a lot of times when you kind of go into detail, there's so many other things that we can pick out that it's like, you asked this question, but before we can talk about that question, I can tell you have like something going on over here that I really want to address, so.
Everybody's cheering for you, Ryan. Everybody in the chat.
Oh,
they're
thanks,
thinking we were being mean to you by making you pick.
Oh, it's my honor.
Well, good. Well, how do you deal with boredom? Yes, Yozo, you do context when it feels need context, which everyone can I think about of the context. Hey, you know what? It's all right. So, but dealing with boredom, this is very interesting because, like, I can't remember the last time I was actually bored until last night.
Oh, wow. That's recent. That's relevant.
And it took me having to go on vacation.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And I can unpack a little bit about what I did. And it was actually, I used boredom to my benefit. you know, how we would talk. We've talked on this show before about, you know, pursuing boredom. Don't be afraid to be bored. Don't be afraid to do nothing and be there with your thoughts, because you can direct your thoughts. It is possible. Sometimes, like now, I'm definitely guilty of letting my thoughts just kind of run away with me. And sometimes when I'm bored and when I'm doing nothing, you know, like a lot of times, like my thoughts can just start running away, and I got to kind of harness them back in, because if my thoughts go kind of crazy off into left field, then I can get emotional, and then the emotions can kind of like bring my thoughts into the deal with them. And then it becomes this downward spiral of crazy. And we don't want that, right? So the key is, if I'm going to sit there and do nothing, what am I going to use my mind for? What am I going to, you know, how am I going to direct my thoughts, basically? Because your minds, every single one of you, your minds are so powerful. All of our minds, they're so much more powerful than we give them credit for, because we spend so much of our lives fulfilling demands of the world, fulfilling the demands of, you know, I'm hungry, I got to go eat, you know, I need this thing, so I got to go buy it, I got to make money, so I got to go to work, I got to learn stuff, so I got to go to school, you know, and we fulfill all these demands. But really, one of the hardest things, one of the most productive things that you can do is to sit, do nothing, and use your mind. Because in that space, you can make plans for the future. In that space, you can look at situations that might be going on, and you can unpack them, as long as like now that can be hard. I'll say that with a caveat, because I've been in positions before where severely depressed or severely anxious, where my mind has not been on my side. And if I'm sitting there alone with my thoughts, it can get kind of dicey. It can be kind of painful. But in those cases, like if you're dealing with anxiety, depression, I would certainly, you know, recommend, it would be good to look into possibly seeing a counselor or a therapist of some kind. But to just be bored, you can, like, our minds can do so much. We can imagine, we can plan, we can, you know, work out things in our minds. And so I had this happen last night. I arrived up here at my brother's, you know, we had dinner, and then they all got ready to go to bed, and they went to bed, and I was still wired because I had drank like, you know, 4 cups of coffee on the way up. You know, it was
Worth it.
7-hour,
Just for the
7-hour drive. Yeah, just for the taste.
Worth it just for the taste, not for necessarily the experience of being not insomniac, but yeah.
Right, exactly. And so I was sitting there, and I was like, okay, you know, well, we're up here, and, you know, whatever. I sat there, and I'm like, well, I'm totally not tired. But like, I was in that kind of stage where my mind was tired, but my body wasn't. You know? Or no. My body was switch that around. My body was tired, but my mind wasn't. I was wired from the caffeine and all this kind of stuff, right? But my body was just like, ugh. So I sat down on the couch. I was gonna watch some Netflix or something, and then I turned on their TV and it said network connection lost. So there was nothing I could do there, and I had books, but they were all the way across the house in the room I was sleeping in. So I didn't even read a book. I sat there and used my brain for like an hour and a half. And I tell you what, it was great because it helped me unpack some stuff. But anyway, one of the biggest proponents of doing this type of stuff, pursuing boredom, is Ryan. You know, he's talked about, you know, and I admire him for this too, because he can sit there and just think and imagine and come up with some of the greatest stuff. You guys have experienced it. Static P's material, those came from moments, maybe collections of lots of moments of Ryan sitting there or laying there and using his brain.
Hmm.
And then the product of that is stuff you enjoy coming from Static P. And so I'm going to now share him with you about this topic.
Thanks.
So, Ryan, it's all yours, buddy.
All right. Well, I'll give it my best. I mean, I think you really kind of approached it with a great start, and I kind of just want to bounce off of what you were saying. We've kind of talked about this on the show before, but as Joe started with, pursue boredom. Being bored is not a bad thing. Might not feel like a good thing because literally, like, being bored doesn't feel good. That's kind of the nature of it. But in reality, that's a matter of perspective. It is oftentimes a very good thing to feel bored. I mean, I remember hearing, Steve Jobs. Now, Steve Jobs isn't just like anybody else in the entire world. Isn't like, someone to necessarily emulate perfectly, because we all got problems. But one thing that Steve Jobs said that was profound and very good and wise, he was in an interview and someone said, do your kids have your products? Like iPhone, iPad, etc. And he said, no. He said, really? Why not? He said, well, if I give my children these devices, they won't be bored enough to come up with new, better ideas. He said, you do require a certain degree of boredom to be creative, because otherwise your mind is constantly just consuming other people's creations and never being put in a spot where it has to create for its own fun. So when you're bored, a lot of times what that means is that you've actually filled your mind with too much going on. And what I mean is, if you've overindulged in entertainment, eventually entertainment will be boring to you. And so in order to fill that, you try to find new entertainment, better entertainment, something different, something new, right? And you end up in this loop of constantly just like trying to fulfill and run away from, I suppose, the sense of boredom, and fill yourself with being entertained. But at some point, and I encourage you, if you can find them, to go online and look up what a brain looks like when it has been overdosing on entertainment. Whenever your brain is encountering too much of anything, certain parts of your brain shut down, like as a mechanism of trying to make sure you don't get too much. And their heads, like people's brains that are an overdose of entertainment, look like Swiss cheese. It's horrifying. Now, don't worry, it's not like there's actually holes in their brain. These are just scans to see which part of the brain are functioning, which parts of the brain have been shut down. And over time, it fixes itself. It heals back up. If you just take away your entertainment for like a week and you come back and you look at the same scans, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's doing way better now. Much better. Maybe there's a couple of holes in there still. Maybe it takes 2-3 weeks to fully regain full capacity of your brain, but still, it's definitely worth noting that if you're bored, it just means you aren't used to where you're at the moment, and your brain wants to fill that empty moment with something. And that is okay. That is so okay. And it isn't necessarily something that, it's like, just because you feel, for example, just because you feel anger because someone does something that you don't like, doesn't mean that your anger is justified. Like, doesn't mean that, sorry, hold on, let me re-say this. It doesn't mean that you should punch someone because the anger that you felt justifies you punching someone, right? Same way, just because you experience a lack of joy or action or entertainment or whatever it is, just because you experience a lacking of some kind of movement, doesn't mean you need to go chase after movement. Doesn't mean you need to go chase after some kind of joy or whatever. Joy is all good. But my point is the feeling doesn't justify an action. So sometimes you got to sit there in your boredom, just like Joe was talking about. And I understand what you said, Yozua. You said, yeah, but my mind is always all over the place because of my conditions, namely ADHD, and I know that you've got several other things going on. But ADHD is relatable to a lot of people here, I'm sure, because a very large percentage of the world has it.
Yep.
You said, yeah, but my mind is always all over the place because of my conditions. I rarely just sit and understand my thoughts. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And autism, right. And it can be very hard to understand your thoughts, especially without, it's kind of like, I think a good example for you, because you like video games. It's like watching a video game that you've never played before, and you're watching these casters talk about it on like a deep level. And it's just like, you don't understand what they're talking about because you've never played the game before, you know? You don't know the rules. You don't know what's going on because you're just watching a game. It's like if you never played chess before, but you're watching people play chess, it's not going to be that interesting. It's going to be more confusing than it is going to be helpful to you in any degree. And that's the same thing with our minds. You know, the more you sit there with your mind and you start to be able to digest some of it little by little, the more you're going to be able to digest in the future. And some of that comes from outside sources, like listening to other people. Maybe Don't Worry Wednesday might be of some service to you in that regard. But, you know, they've got lots of books and professions out there to talk about the inner workings of your mind. But the more you recognize the inner workings of your mind, the more it is that you'll understand your mind, right? And it's like, of course, that makes sense. So what I would suggest is, if you are having difficulty understanding your thoughts, first off, know that that's okay. Don't be concerned about it. Don't be like, oh, there's something wrong with me because I don't understand my thoughts. No, that's the defaults. Like, you're in the default place. Just like if you were to encounter your first game of chess, like the default is, yeah, I don't know this game. Of course you wouldn't know what's going on. Like, you know, it's like if you see a chessboard that's like 8 moves in and you've never played chess before, you would look at that board and be like, I have no clue how many moves they've made. I don't even know how moves work. How am I supposed to guess how many moves I've made? And it's like, you know, obviously. So same way, don't expect yourself to understand your own thoughts. I mean, that's not easy. It's complicated. And in fact, it's so complicated, there are professions for it, right? And these professions are still learning things about our brain every day. Because we aren't born into this world understanding who we are and how our brain works and all that. We discover these things. And as part of the joy of life is we can come to discover who we are. We can come to discover the way that we work and utilize it to our advantage. And one thing about boredom is it gives us the time to digest some of that. And sometimes you need to spend a lot of time in boredom before any fruit comes of it. But if you've always been running away from boredom your whole life, just like if you've always been running away from a chess game your whole life, you know, you're never going to know how to play the game. In this case, you're never going to know how to play the game of how to use what's in your head and how to understand it. And so, I know your question is, you know, like, how do you deal with boredom, right? My answer is,
I think this sounds like a great
it.
way to deal with boredom. Yeah, exactly.
Embrace
That's a great way to deal with it.
Rather than trying to find something to fill your time with. It's like, oh, I'm bored because I'm working on a piece of homework and it's boring me. It's like, that's understandable and okay. You're feeling bored because your brain has been filled with something for so many years, like video games or entertainment, watching movies, blah, blah, blah. Now that your brain is without it, it's going to have a withdrawal experience. And that experience is going to make you go, oh, I need to cure this. I need to fill myself with this chemical because I'm not at ease without it. It's like, yeah, of course you're not at ease without it, but that doesn't mean you can't deal with it, right? And it doesn't mean that's what you need. It just means that's what your brain wants. But what your brain wants isn't necessarily what you need, you know? And so you have to the best way to deal with boredom is to recognize, like, hey, I feel bored as a response to wanting something that isn't even necessarily good for me. So the best way to deal with this is to just kind of not go pursue the thing my brain wants to do. Because then, after I do that long enough, I won't feel bored just because I'm without this other thing, right? And then, after you experience not needing another thing to fill that space in order to not be bored, after you do away with that and you commit to that, then you can start to learn about yourself. Because now you have time to think, and your brain isn't just going, I need this, 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 I need this over and over in your head. It's just like if you're smoking cigarettes and you've got nicotine addiction, eventually, if you stop smoking cigarettes, your withdrawals will stop after a period of time. It's just a matter of time. And in this case, it's a matter of time away from probably whatever it is that your brain is telling you go do whenever you feel bored. So if you feel bored, ask yourself, like, what is my brain telling me to go do? Okay, that's the problem. I need to not do that for a while until my brain can accept life without it and recognize that it's okay. And then I can utilize that time that I've just saved myself and grow in who I am, grow in my ability to understand myself, and move forward. Now, it doesn't mean entertainment or whatever it is that your brain is trying to get done is bad. Like for Joe, it's not even entertainment. For Joe, it's work, right? Joe's been working for like nonstop, like years and years and years and years and years and years and years. And he's on vacation for like the first time in a long time. And so he's like, I'm bored, because he doesn't have something he's filling his time with that's getting something done. And getting stuff done is great. There's nothing wrong with it, right? But if it's an addiction, boredom kind of points to that. And so to rid yourself of any addiction is good, because it gives you more control over yourself. And the more control you have over yourself, the better you can plan your life and do good things with it. So then you're not just anyways, you're not just a slave to your addiction. So that's great. Anyways, I know that was a long talk about kind of one concept, but I hope that that's really helpful. And I know that that's really hard to embrace. That's really hard to embrace for anybody. But anybody who can do that, it's like, whoa, that's a game changer.
Well, I love the direction you took this, Ryan. It's so perfect. Because this, and I'm sorry if I cut you off, but
no, I was done.
Were you done? Okay. But like you talked about a few key points in there, and part of it was the addiction part, like ridding ourselves of the addiction of busyness, right? Of keeping ourselves busy all the time. And when we do that, we're kind of running away from ourselves in a way, because we're not engaged with ourselves. We're engaged with whatever it is we're doing. And one of the key things that I did when I was sitting there doing nothing last night for like, I lost all track of time. I didn't have my phone on me because my phone was at like 2%. And so it was in the other room charging. I was just sitting there. And like, I was like, I don't want to get up, but, did you ever, either make contact with someone that you haven't had contact with for a long time, or maybe you get to know somebody a little bit better, and then all of a sudden you're like really interested in getting to know them more, and so like you're digging in, you have all these conversations with this person, and you get really, really close, and you're learning all this stuff, right? I did that with myself. That was part of it. It was like that re-engaging with myself, that reconnecting with myself of like, how do I think? How do I process? What am I all about here? Right. And like, so it was this time of, and it fit well with kind of what I'm trying to learn how to do, which is to love myself again, after decades of being trained to hate myself. I'm I'm out of that situation, and now I'm trying to learn how to love myself. And to dig in and to sit there and to just be there with myself was such a crazy experience, because I started to notice more about myself. I started to notice some of my blind spots. I started to notice some of the things, like started to be able to unpack some of my actions over the years that seemed to not go very well, and some of the different little things, like, as it's very interesting, but I equated it to pursuing a relationship with somebody. But I was pursuing a relationship with myself. And I was talking with myself, and I was learning about myself, and I was engaged with myself. And when you can take the time to not be entertained, to not be distracted, to not be in any of that, it gives you that chance to really talk to yourself, to really listen to yourself, and to engage. It's really cool. Cal's Kitchen has some great stuff in the chat. Cal said, when I'm overstimulated, I go into a dark room, lay in the dark, doing nothing and thinking nothing. It's actually quite relaxing. And that is great. When you can clear your mind of everything, sit there, close your eyes, imagine just a blank screen, right? Imagine just a blank white screen, and then think about, like, just notice your breathing. Don't even direct your breathing. So I've heard breathing exercises, breathe in, breathe out, count to 10, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. But one of the best things I've learned to do is just let myself breathe and notice how those breaths go. That makes sense? And so that's what I'm thinking about. And from there, as you spend time in nothing, it's amazing how you can then connect with yourself at a deeper level. You start to see value in yourself that you may not have ever recognized before. And you start to understand, so much about how we're so busy all the time. We're busy doing stuff. And a lot of times it's busy doing stuff that's not productive. Sometimes we're being productive, sometimes we're not, but we keep ourselves so busy and distracted. Like, when we can actually spend time in boredom, slowing down, re-engaging with ourselves, it can heal wounds quicker. It can help us understand ourselves better, and it can help us learn to love who we are. Because I don't know, self-love, it's a weird thing, and it kind of has gotten a bad rap in some perspectives, because people will be like, well, a narcissist is someone who just loves themselves too much. And no, a narcissist does not love themselves. A narcissist is usually generally very insecure.
Yeah, that does tend to be the case.
So they're focused on themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is different than being engaged and learning how to love yourself. Because usually when we're focused on ourselves, we're focused on how things aren't going the way we want them to, or how we want something to go a certain way. And then we're focused on making sure that can happen. But when we're just relaxed, doing nothing, and then learning about ourselves in an environment where we're relaxed, we're not judging, we're just accepting who we are, it's totally healing, totally cleansing. It's great. So Cal, thank you for a lot of the stuff you put in the chat. And yeah, if you can't quiet your mind on your own, you can try finding some guided meditations. I've definitely done that. That's how I learned self-hypnosis, was through guided meditations. A lot of that stuff. It's great. Yeah. So uh, going on long walks with no music, where you're just experiencing outdoor. There are a lot of times when I'll just go outside, like if I'm in the middle of mixing or mastering a song and I've just been sitting there with my ears getting beaten with music for like hours and hours and hours, I'll have to just like stop because everything starts to sound mushy. You ever get to that point, Ryan?
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, and then like you don't even know what you're listening to or for anymore. It's just all starting to blend together, and it's just like,
yeah,
blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have to like stop, go outside, and listen to the wind.
Yeah.
Like,
sometimes I do that too. I just clear my mind. Just like, okay, hold on. I'm just gonna like get off, go outside, and just stand there in the sun, and do nothing for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Yozo, you said you can't picture stuff. You have aphantasia. That's fine. You can picture nothing.
That makes it easier to picture nothing, actually. Count it as a
because
blessing.
the whole idea, it's not necessarily about picturing a white screen. The idea is to picture nothing. The idea is to empty your mind, right? And not think about anything. And so if you can't picture anything, that's helpful for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to get across, the point I'm trying to get across is that boredom is not your enemy.
Right.
Being bored, even though it might feel a little bit uncomfortable, being bored, like Ryan was saying, it is something to embrace. It is something to take that time because you can start to discover what a lot of your friends, Yosua, have already discovered, and that is that you are an amazing, amazing human being. You're an amazing life form. And when you can have that time and boredom to connect with yourself, you start to discover that as well.
That's
it's
awesome.
really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's pretty much what I have to say. So
yeah, I love it. Thank you. That's a perfect line to finish it on. I think that's absolutely pretty core, because I think a lot of times in life we're searching for appreciation, we're searching for acceptance, we're searching for love, and it's like, well, you gotta, one thing that you can do that's a big help in all of that is just like literally talk to yourself and come to do those things about yourself. Because if you don't recognize how incredible of a human being you are, you're missing out. Because the truth is you are, but you're just not. You're not engaging with it. And you can be engaging with it wrongly and treating that person inside of you very horribly. And that usually does come when you ignore that person a lot. And so boredom is a time where you can sit there and be like, I'm not going to ignore you anymore. And but like also don't treat them like crap, right? Right. Learn and engage with that person inside of you and come to love them. I think that's really, really great. And you're not going to love and accept everything about yourself. No one does, because we're not perfect. And humans, we just have this desire to sort of be perfect and live up to all of our own expectations and bars and so on. The point isn't to lower the bar in yourself. The point is to love yourself above the bar. Love yourself so much that the bar doesn't matter, but you're still going to reach for it, right? And so,
right,
yeah,
that's great. And you said that, Yozo, you said you can't get rid of sounds in your head, voices in your head, all this kind of stuff. I understand that. I've definitely been there, and this is where this takes some practice, and it won't happen right off the bat. But you can dismiss those thoughts and those voices. You can say, "Thank you, you're dismissed." Thank you, you're dismissed. And sometimes it takes a long time. But just patiently keep working at it. And don't get mad at those thoughts or those voices or anything. Just thank you, you're dismissed. Calmly dismiss those thoughts. And it's interesting you go in that direction. Like I wrote this down today because this was one of the products of my of what I had sat there and thought through last night. I didn't have anything. I didn't even have a pen and a paper next to me. And that's like, I always have one of my journals next to me. I journal in 3 different journals for different stuff. And this, I journaled this later. I journaled it today, but because I remembered it. But A lot of times what we want out of life is some kind of satisfying experience. Right? We want some kind of satisfying experience in life. And if we love someone, don't we want that for them as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We want people to have a satisfying experience when we love them. So then the question is, how can I help people have a satisfying experience in life? When I engage with somebody and when I engage with myself, how can I have a fulfilling experience? Because we all tend to chase that. We all tend to chase fulfillment, satisfaction, happiness, call it whatever you want. We tend to chase that. But if we don't take the time to sit and learn about ourselves, how do we ever know what buttons to push? How do we ever know what direction to run in? We don't. And I don't know. I think it's so boredom is great.
Yeah, I
It's
used to
worth
say a long time ago, and this isn't an absolute truth, but I used to say, happiness can be kind of summed into being satisfied with your position in your surroundings, right? If you are satisfied with yourself or satisfied with your surroundings, generally you're just gonna be happy. Like, that's happiness a lot of times. It's satisfaction with where you are and in life. And that's hard to
kind of at peace with the whole thing.
Yeah, to be at peace with it. Yeah. And I suppose that's also kind of what peace is, right? So it's like that's not easy, I think, and it's not always in your control if you and your life and how satisfied you are with it is determined by outside factors which you can't control, which is most of us. We're all caught up in this world and we don't control every element of it, right? We're just here. And so to decide for yourself that you aren't going to be like you're unsatisfied, to decide for yourself that you're not just going to be like, oh, I'm unsatisfied with the world around me so that you can be unhappy. It's like, that's not helpful, right? And so it requires to just be at peace and recognize, like, hey, I'm just caught up in the world around me, but at least who I am, I'm satisfied with that. And that can bring you a great deal of peace. Or to be satisfied with knowing that, hey, for some of us, we're religious and just like, well, God will get this. It might not look like it's gotten right now, but in the end, we're going to be great. And it's all going to be worth it because God makes great of all things, especially things that are evil. He turns them into even better good things. It's like, that's great. So there's peace in that. There's satisfaction in that, even no matter like what's going on that's wrong. And so it's a lot of perspective. Happiness is like perspective. So boredom is a great time to change your perspective about things, right? Boredom it's the absolute perfect time to just learn that, hey, it's okay. Like, literally everything is okay right now. Otherwise you wouldn't be bored. Like, it's okay. So, and that really does help with satisfaction and finding that. But I really like the idea of, how do you satisfy other people? Because that's great. That's a great way to treat people and to figure out, like, what can I do that makes them feel loved and so on and so forth.
Yep. And try not to do things that would hurt them.
Oh, right? Yeah, that's unsatisfactory.
You're not trying to manipulate them. You're not trying to, change that. You're just trying to give them a good life experience. How can I be a good life experience for this person? Right?
Yeah.
And we hope we're doing that for you guys.
Yeah. Definitely.
But anyway, thank you so much for the topic, Yosua. You always have great topics, and I'm glad to see you back here. You want what on a t-shirt? Brain chemicals?
Brain chemicals. Yay, brain chemicals.
I'm not a person, I'm a life experience. Oh, yeah, that's good. That'd be a great t-shirt.
Not a person. I'm a life experience. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Uh-huh. But yeah, thank you so much, Yoso. Hopefully some of that was helpful, and hopefully, boredom is definitely not something to be afraid of. It's not something to be uncomfortable with, even though we generally tend to be.
Mhm.
But it's okay, and it's great because you can get a lot of good. You can get a lot of mental productivity and emotional and spiritual productivity
Mhm.
done in
Especially
that state.
creativeness.
Yep. Creativity is, I mean, boredom is like the mother of creativity.
Yeah, facilitates it. It gives it life. Because
Hmm.
otherwise, you don't have any reason to create because your mind is always just being like fulfilled by the world around it.
Yep. Yep. It's crazy. But anyway, thank you so much. And with that, let's move on to
Yes, please.
another topic.
Hmm.
What's that?
I said, yes, please.
Yes, please. So we have some new ones. I think I saw Sister Frisk in the chat.
Sister
There's a
Frisk.
topic
I hope you're
from
still with us.
Frisk. We have one from Marhandi. These are ones that they want to be present when we do the topic. So I will mention those. If you guys are here, let us know. And we do also have a bunch with no preference. Oh, and Saule, you have a topic
That's
as
awesome,
well
Sauli.
that
Thank
came
you.
in, and that was one where you wanted to be present. Oh wait, Sister Frisk, did you want to be present? I thought you did, but it says on the thing that it didn't matter. Um,
No preference.
but
Um,
yeah,
some of
actually,
that
if we're
was
gonna go in
broken
order,
not that long ago, so that
that's
might have been
true.
why.
That's true. Yeah. Um. So, Kelly, you don't have any topics for once. That's okay. Um.
Okay, Sauli has a topic, but I don't see it in here. Oh wait, I do. I found it. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's right there.
Got it. I'm okay with whatever says
Okay,
Sister Frisk. Great.
we've got both of you in the topic. Let's see if we can do both of them. We can do both of them in an hour,
Yeah, we
right?
can do this. We got this.
All right. So we'll do them in order. We'll start with Saules because it came first. Um,
Oh, hey Marhandi. That's awesome. Okay.
oh, Marhandi, yours is not too urgent and maybe
Okay.
fading out. Oh, easing and fading out. Okay,
Okay.
cool. It's nice to see you. Welcome.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Wow,
Master
there's a
Lay.
name that I haven't seen for a while.
Holy cow.
Welcome.
Welcome.
All right. Well, yes, let's okay, as the host, I'm going to just make an executive decision and I'm in the executive world headquarters office chair. Um
Not for Don't Worry Wednesday, but yeah.
Never know where Wednesday. Yes. So we'll just start at the top of the list, and the first one is Saule's. So this is a topic called lyrics with no music. Um, and yeah. So let me know
All
when you have
right.
it up on the screen. I will read it out loud.
It is up on the screen.
All right. So this is from Saule called "Lyrics with No Music." And it reads lyrics with no music, words with no delivery. I have practiced writing lyrics until I realized I was writing poetry, not song lyrics. Then I learned the differences. They are similar and there is a lot of overlap. Both can stand in for each other if done right. I like writing meaningful lyrics that say something or tell some sort of story, especially a piece of history. It's not for everyone, but I think I've gotten the hang of the process somewhat. I finally started to write some lyrics that I think are deserving of becoming songs, but I have no desire to do any of the work beyond writing the lyrics. As you both have said, there are a lot of skills that need to be developed to make music. All I have developed is lyric writing. I have too many other hobbies that require my time: cars, photography, woodworking, metalworking, etc. What can I do? I don't want to just give my lyrics away, but I would like to see them turned into something I can listen to and share with my friends. Thank you for your input. It is much appreciated. SP, which I think stands for Soaking Pillow.
Yeah.
which is AKA Saule. And yeah, so thank
Thank
you
you.
very, very much for the topic. Yeah, I'm impressed. You're getting good at writing lyrics. That is not necessarily an easy task.
No, not at all.
And yeah,
Very difficult task.
so oh, by the way, good night, Yosua. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Give that
Super
lyrics to Static P. You know, that's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, I have a rough time writing lyrics, but that's
So do
because I
I.
think so hard on them.
As part of that boredom thing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like I can remember you telling me stories. Was it? I think.
yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like a lot of the lyrics you write, you basically lay there still
yeah,
for
yeah. It's very
hours.
hard to write lyrics for me, so I literally just have to like get to a point where I'm so bored. I'm literally just sitting there, laying in my bed, or just sitting at my computer, like just staring off into space and like thinking. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's not easy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I do know that there are musicians out there that, you know, you're talking to two of them. You're looking at two of them. That lyrics is definitely a struggle at
Mm-hmm.
times. Pretty good at writing music.
Yeah,
You know,
the
pretty good
music's
at
the easy
coming up
part.
with arrangements and all that kind of stuff, the instrumentals, all that stuff. You know, that's pretty great. But so, really, one of the best things you can do, I think, practically in this situation is probably reach out in DMs to. There's this guy named Joe in the Static P Friends server,
Yeah,
and
there is that guy. It's pretty cool.
you can feel free to DM that guy. I mean, he's on vacation right now, so he might not get back to you immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially since you know, there's we're moving in a direction of doing a lot of collaborating at BSS, and so we're definitely looking for people. Now, here's the thing. You talk about not wanting to give your lyrics away. You don't have to ever do that. As the lyricist, you own 50%
Mm-hmm.
at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the only of the copyright, that's going to get you all of the publishing income. Like, well, that's going to give you access to the publishing royalties, right? I'm not going to get into a huge like crazy thing, but
Legally speaking.
the, legally speaking, the lyrics and the melody that the lyrics are sung in, those are the only copyrightable parts of a song.
Hmm.
And so you own those songs. So anybody that you share them with, you know, like if they know what they're doing, they're going to split all of those royalties with you. So it's not, you won't be giving them away, you know? So I'm just going to throw that out there. You are you are friends on Discord with this Joe guy. You know, you could message him if you want. And okay, you said it helps that I don't have deadlines for my lyrics. I write about ideas and that come to my head. Once I have a start, I can work it on over time. Or I can work on it over time. So yeah, absolutely. Get a hold of Joe. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. So Ryan?
Geez.
Take
I
it
mean,
away.
honestly, I have nothing. Joe said everything that I could say. Literally, you don't have to go to us. You can just find other musicians. But what Joe
You
said
totally
is correct.
can.
Legally speaking, you own what you write. If that's poetry, you own that poetry. If you write a book, you own that book. You're the author, right? You have authority because you are the author. And so that is, you don't have to give your lyrics away. You can still own them. And that's great. I mean, if as long as you give it to someone who's fair, and they want to use them, that's great. And hopefully
There are shysters out there.
yeah, there are people that aren't so great with their word. So obviously, you know, you can trust us, but you can go wherever you want. You can even approach other musicians who you find are right, like you want this specific style, and so maybe you can find a place where those people congregate and share lyrics there. There might even be like a Fiverr, for example. It's like, hey, Fiverr.com, I think is what it is. Anyways, people are like, I'll write lyrics for you. You could literally just be like, all right, I'll get in on that. It'll be like my part-time job that I pay attention to like once every 2 weeks, and and then every once in a while you'll get a request and they'll be like, hey, I want a song about trapeze artists, and you'll just be like, yeah, I got something for you. Hold on, let me cook something up, and then you do something, right? So that's what I would that's what I recommend. I mean, outside of what Joe said, you could do something like that, because lyric writing skills are in demand. So yeah. But if you've got something and it's good, it's good in the sense that it's like, wholly kind of good, like it's helpful to people, and it's deep, then I would love to use them. And so I don't mind drawing from the wellspring of wisdom of forces outside of myself, because I am only one person, and I only have so much time, and writing lyrics is very difficult for me. So yeah, get with Joe. Otherwise, go on Fiverr. Like, literally just be like, hey, I could sell these, because you can. And instead of selling them, what I would recommend, not that it matters, if this is a part-time thing that you don't really want to like invest too much time in for money, don't sell your lyrics to people. Just let them use it for a share of the royalty, because then you'll have a passive income. Even if it's like, even if they only ever make like $4 on the song, eventually someday you might get someone who makes a big hit, and then you'll be real happy. You didn't settle for like getting paid, $100 like 40 times. Instead, you get paid, like, I don't know, $400,000 over the course of a couple of years, and you're like, dang, that was worth it. So just some financial thoughts there for you, but you can do whatever you want, man. I think it's awesome that you're doing this. Keep it up.
I think so too.
It's a great
I like
skill set.
Cal said make him sign a prenup.
Oh my gosh.
A prenup, it's a contract, is a legal document. A prenup is specifically for before a marriage, prenuptial agreement, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
nuptial is where it's actually prenuptial. Yeah.
Right.
Nuptial meaning having to do with marriage.
Yes, exactly.
That's funny.
So,
so basically what you're saying is make them marry you? Never mind another bit. No, go all the way, man. Don't back down, Cal. Yeah. This is great. I've never been married. No, make just act like you meant that, because that's way better. I love it. Yes. You want these lyrics? Marry me.
Sign a prenup, man.
Promise me your hand.
Oh, Saule says, marry me, you can have my lyrics. Oh man, but then they'll have half of your stuff too. Oof. Well, I guess if you sign a prenup, whatever.
Yeah, but, you can make it whatever deal you want.
Yeah. But yes, Saule, you say it's interesting. You are saying I can make money on my lyrics. I was expecting to commission someone to write a song with my lyrics. Not necessarily. It depends. Like, I mean, there will be musicians. Now, here's the thing. You could commission someone and pay them to do that. You absolutely could. That's an option.
That is an absolute option. Mm-hmm.
Yep. But a lot of times when you do an upfront commission type of deal, then you also will have to figure out some kind of, okay, who's going to own the copyrights on this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there are going to be some things to navigate legally if anybody is planning on using it to make any money. And I would just assume that somebody will, right? And so it's good to have all that stuff in a row. So anyway, yeah, feel free to reach out. we can talk more about this. And if you decide, like if it's stuff that maybe we'll be able to use it, maybe we won't, who knows? But either way, I can, we through our conversations, we can help get you pointed in a direction so at least you understand the landscape of what it's going to entail. And as you shop around, you'll want to have, stuff kind of lined up to have these copyright splits. Who's going to own what portion?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you've written the lyrics, so that's at least 50% in my mind. Right? And then whoever writes the melody line, that's another 50%. Now, you can take that and, if you've got other musicians involved, you guys can split however you want when it comes to all other different kinds of royalties. But it gets kind of confusing and crazy. So, but this is kind of our wheelhouse. This is the stuff that I'm studying now. So feel free to reach out.
Yeah, Joe knows a lot of this stuff.
Legal stuff is ridiculous.
Lyrics, music, vocals. I mean, all of them are split into different categories, but when you're talking about like what you make on the what do you call those?
The copyright.
Yeah, the copyright. What you make on the copyright is split differently than what you make in royalties across the board. There's all sorts of weird splits. But
yeah, because there's performance royalties and there's publishing royalties, and there's different kinds of different stuff. And some go to the recording artist, whether they wrote the song or not. Some go to the record label. Some go to the publisher. Some go to the copyright holder, right? And so there's all these kinds of different royalties that get split up based on where they're played and what's done with them. But you're in a really, really good position being the person who invented the lyrics. That's a really great spot to be in, and entitles you to a good portion of a lot of those different types of royalties. So yeah, but we can talk. Yeah, I don't want to get into a big long drawn out thing, man. This is like
because it's not applicable to everybody else.
I'm going to, and if you just let me go wild, I've learned a lot about this stuff in the last couple months as we launched our publishing company. And it's like, oh man, I've got all this knowledge in my head, but nobody's gonna get it. And nobody's gonna care because it's so technical and ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we told you to run with it, man. Run with that prenup.
Yeah. I love it. Awesome. Well, awesome. I guess that's what we got on that topic, without going down a big rabbit hole. But yeah, and plus, honestly, if you're writing lyrics and whatever you do gets out there into the world, that's worth it just alone. Just that alone is worth finding people who can make or write songs to it, because your message that you have is important. So honestly, if anything, beyond the financial stuff, that alone makes it worth pursuing. So that's awesome skill set. And if you can encourage the world through your lyrics, wherever they end up, it's worth getting them to end up somewhere. And so I encourage you. Talk to Joe.
Oh man, that wasn't a cocky statement, was it?
No, I mean it's literally your profession. We can't claim to be professional psychologists, psychiatrists, police officers, etc. So we can at least claim the one thing we do.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Right?
You're right. Yeah, good point.
All right.
Good point. I'd be happy to talk to you more about it.
Yeah.
But awesome. All right, well, let's move on to the next one. What's next on our list? We have Frisk, I think.
Yeah.
Was the next one that came in.
Frisk, you still available with us?
Frisk, are you still with us? I mean, there was no preference on this one.
Fair. Frisk. Yeah. Yippee. So, awesome.
Yes, they're here.
They are.
I only have one screen, so I gotta like switch back and forth
Oh
and
yeah,
everything
that
between
is
everything. So I can't
definitely.
like yeah. All right. So anyway, all right. Holding back tears is
All
the
right,
name of this one from
it is
Frisk.
on for you.
All right. And it reads as follows. I've spent so long holding back tears in the past that now when I feel sad, I just don't feel the need to cry or I'm just unable to. Is there a way to fix this?
Mm.
From Frisk.
Yeah,
Uh
that's a
yep.
very interesting
I
topic.
I can relate. So are you what you're I'm guessing what you're trying to say is you would like to cry,
Mm-hmm.
but now can't? Is this something that you want to do
I think
but
that's what
can't?
I'm hearing. Yeah, you can clarify. That'd be great.
Okay. So I've definitely been in this position before where I have, kind of numbed myself or told myself not to cry or like and then made myself, kind of like downplayed my emotions to the point where I couldn't. Okay, when needed, yes. You'd
Mm-hmm.
like to cry when needed because it can be a very very, you know, it can be a very healing experience to cry and to weep or to whatever, right?
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
sometimes it it's crazy because for years and years and years I didn't cry at all. At all. And then I had this friend like man, started to open up about some of the realities of some of the relationship issues I was having. This was ramping up to my divorce.
Mm.
And I remember this one particular day where I was talking to this person and they sent me a song and the song triggered something and it was almost like years of weeping just started like I felt like I was vomiting tears
Wow.
because it was just like so hard. It was just like it was crazy. Um, it wasn't a sad song, Kawhi. That's a really good suggestion. Put on a sad song, lay, cry, enjoy relief. Sometimes hey, that can work. This particular song wasn't even a sad song. It was supposed to be inspiring.
Mm. Oh, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. No. No. Mm-hmm.
But everything kind of was culminating to this point, and because I had shut everything off and I had numbed myself to the point where I was not experiencing these emotions, and then everything just started to come to the surface, and it was like it was crazy nuts. But so how do you get to that point? How do you get to the point of being able to cry when you've shut it down for a long time? It's a really good question, and sometimes it takes being able to talk to somebody and that person being really patient
Mm.
and just allowing you to talk. This is where sometimes a therapist can come in handy because that's kind of like their job. And you know, or it can just be a friend who's patient, who is willing to let you open up and open up slowly. That can be really, really helpful. So what? Hmm. I don't want to put this on just on, hey, this is going to be up to you finding another person to help you through this because, like there are things that you can do within yourself that can like soften your heart to the point where you are able to cry again. But maybe um I don't know. Are you feeling like trying to figure out how to formulate this question.
Yeah. Take your time.
Sometimes, well, here's the thing. Sometimes sometimes I feel like it's appropriate for me to cry, but I just don't cry because of the way that I'm built. It's just not a situation that I cry in. Like there are people all around me at funerals just crying their eyes out and weeping, blubbering messes and everything like that. And I'm just like
Mhm.
rock solid because death doesn't frighten me. Death is something that I'm comfortable with. It's not, and like even if the person is close to me, I'm I'm thankful that they've been a part of my life, but like it's kind of almost become when I'm at a funeral, I'm the guy that's there to listen and be there with the people who are crying and to kind of be like a solid
Mm.
person that's
Mm.
not losing it all over the place because that's a place that's appropriate to lose it, right? And I feel kind of out of place. But then there are other times, like, I hear a song that's supposed to lift my spirits, and then I just start bawling my eyes out. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe it's weird.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, crying is one of those interesting things. I'm really curious to see what Ryan has to say on the topic.
Jeez.
So
Yeah,
I am
I
going to
am
turn it
too.
over.
I have no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna open
Well,
my mouth and hope
you're
this Holy Spirit comes out because I got nothing on this.
you're you're about to find out what
Hmm.
you have to say about it.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Um,
true. That's the way it often goes.
mm-hmm,
So, I mean, I'll give it my best. Thanks.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Man.
Oh, you tend to cry for more happy things than for the sad things,
Yeah,
Frisk.
I
Hey.
can relate to that. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I don't tend to cry in most sad scenarios. I remember, like, quite a lot of things, like movies and stuff like that. They're supposed to be sad. I remember my brother. There was this movie back in the day. I think it was called Rwanda or something like that. It was about this conflict between two races. That was it was actually a real movie and not real movie. It was a movie based on a very real thing that happened and that got recorded and they made a movie about it, right? I think that's what it was called. Anyways, um, yeah, I remember my brother cried and his wife cried and everyone was crying and I just stood there and I'm like, I Hotel Rwanda, thank you, Cats. Yeah, and I just was like, yes, of course it's sad. Like that's horrible, and no, it doesn't make me cry. And then literally like it wasn't even a week later, I watched something and it was happy, and it was like there was conflict, but then the resolve was like super nice and happy and friendly and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I shed a tear there, right? And so it's just like not everything is gonna make everybody cry, right? But when you're talking about a numbness, I think it's slightly different. Um, I remember a period of time. I remember I was in sixth grade. Um, I got so fed up with everything because I had bullies in school, and I just hated school, and they would send me home with homework, and I didn't want to do that, and so everything in my life was like I don't want to do anything, and so I came to the conclusion that if I wasn't feeling those things, like not wanting to do them, etc. Um, if I didn't feel like I was fed up with the people around me, if I didn't feel those things, I'd be a lot better off. And I literally just shut everything down.
Mm.
And I was able to perform. I was like actually able to start doing my homework again because I had no emotions. I was able to do like just stuff, like deal with people because I had no emotions.
Mm.
Um, and what was interesting from that, I learned a very important and valuable thing. And I didn't have to stay there for very long to find out that removing myself from the situation so that my emotions are no longer attached to it, a lot of times can be a really good route to solving a problem.
Mm.
It doesn't mean that emotions are bad. It doesn't mean that it was good that I stopped having emotions. Emotions are a integral part of well, they're an integral part of being human, but also an integral part of solving problems.
Mm-hmm.
They're a pretty important part. And when you shut down that function, your problem solving skills kind of go down because you don't know what to solve, because you don't have the emotions directing you. And so they're part of the piece. And learning to turn off and on the emotions, though, is a huge skill. And so what I would recommend, and it's not like turning off emotions is good, in the sense that it's like, yeah, emotions are bad, so therefore turning them off is good. No, that's not it. It's being able to remove yourself from the scenario. Because when you're caught up and someone's insulting you and making fun of you, whatever it is, like someone's bullying you, right? To be able to remove yourself from that scenario personally can help you make the right actions to move forward. Where if you just go off of your emotions, you might make all of the wrong actions. Or to be in a situation where it's a lot of drama, high drama, or whatever, and you're caught up in it, to be able to just turn it off and calm down, or to look at yourself from a third person's perspective, like, what would I do if I was that person? It's actually you, but you're not thinking of yourself that way, right? All of these things can be very beneficial. And so what I'm saying here is, your condition where you are numb, first of all, take it as a benefit. Take that part as a blessing. In the sense that it can be used for good. Okay? Then second, let yourself know here. Talk to yourself. Let yourself know that it's okay to be emotional again. That it's okay to be you. And it's okay to be vulnerable. And it's okay to be vulnerable again. Because you're strong enough now to get through whatever puts you here now. Right? You are where you are because of circumstances that happened in your life. And the way that you saw them and the way that you just kind of had to shut down. Let yourself know that you can handle those things now. And reapproach them. You know, you can reapproach them in your head. You can think about them in your head and come at them again and think about them, whatever they are, and like, how would I solve them now? Now that I'm not 5, now that I'm not 10, you know, whatever it is, right? You can think about those things. And you can think about the people who messed with you and people who did you wrong and just say, you know what? They have their whole life ahead of them. They're not eternally in that moment. And that's not who they are forever. They aren't perpetually that bad thing. I can forgive them and let them move on. Because they already have, probably. They probably don't even remember what happened. Let yourself know that you're okay. And that you can overcome whatever it is. If you open yourself up to be vulnerable, you can overcome whatever comes your way. That self-confidence, I recognize that that's not easy, but that's what self-confidence is. It's recognizing that, hey, whatever happens, I'm good enough that I can figure it out, right? And unlocking that switch where you can turn your emotions off. Not that emotions are bad. Again, emotions are great. And to experience healing, you have to allow your emotions to exist. Otherwise, you won't experience the healing, right? But, I mean, you could solve the problem and still not be healed, right? And so the problem could have gone away years ago, but you're still not healed. Why? Because your emotions are still damaged. You're still unable to be vulnerable, right? So emotions are a key and integral part of healing. But being able to flip a switch and remove yourself from the scenario, right? To be able to be both vulnerable and also solid. Right? It's like I'm vulnerable to what's going on around me, and that's good, but I'm also solid in that I have control over what goes on emotionally inside here to some degree. Right? I have control over my action, I have control over my perspective, I have control over what I'm going to do with the emotions that come to me, and I have some control over the emotions that I feel. You're never going to have full control over that. Just a warning, but you do get some. And so to talk to yourself and allow yourself, like, you have to talk to yourself and allow yourself to say, hey, look, hey, it's okay to be vulnerable again. Hey, it's okay to cry. Hey, it's okay. You're stronger now. You can handle whatever comes. And if you tell yourself, no, you can hear your voice in your head like, I can't handle it. I tried that. It's like your experiences of your past don't predicate how you're going to do in the future. Right? Everyone fails their way to success. Pretty much everyone fails their way to success. Everyone fails their way to success at something in life.
That's true. That's true.
No one learns to walk.
Lots of failures on that road.
No one learns to walk without falling down like 99 times. Every child you'll ever see that walks around has fallen on their butt a lot. It's like, that's life. That's life. So if you're telling yourself in your head, like, I can't be vulnerable because blah, 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 I'll get hurt. It's like, okay. And like, what does that have? Oh, that's an of course thing. That's yeah, of course. If I'm vulnerable, I'll get hurt. If I'm vulnerable enough to cry about things, I'm going to get hurt. Because crying hurts. And the things that happen that make you cry hurt. It's like, okay. But they're good. And pain is not, like, the point of life is not to run away from pain. Like, if you, like, unfortunately, so many people in this world, and I don't mean to be mean, and I don't mean to stereotype or criticize in a way that's, like, condemning to people. It's just the fact is so many people in this world live their entire lives not seeking something, but running away and trying to avoid pain at all costs. Right? Every action they make is designed around the concept of, how do I minimize pain and maximize joy? And it's like, that is not a life. Life that's like, if you look at someone, it's like, wow, they lived a life worth living. It's like, they were not running, like, trying to find hiding spots from the pains of the world that's they're going to encounter. It's someone who's decided to just go and recognize pain as a healthy part of it. And so for me, that's what I've got to start with. There's some inner dialogue that can happen. And maybe you've already done this, and maybe none of this is helpful. But for me, I remember it just being like a switch. A switch that got turned on for a while. And then I remember, some people said this in the chat. I remember when I turned it off. You want to know when I turned it off? I came to this conclusion. I said, because there are these bullies that did something stupid. And I was like, I asked myself, like, why did they do something like that? And then I was like, wait a minute. No, really, why did they do that? If I put myself in their shoes and I did that, what would be the reason I would do that? And then I was like thinking about them from an outside perspective, but like kind of like as if I'm them, rather than being caught up in my own thing and being like, oh, they did me wrong, right? This is me living outside of myself, right? Removing myself from the scenario. I got bullied. But instead of feeling emotional about it, I put myself in their shoes. And I said, why would they do that? What's the reason? They had to have a reason. Logically, they had to have a reason to do that. So what was that? And I thought about it. And it could have been a number of things. I recognize that. I could be wrong about my premise. But one way or another, there was a reason they did it. And I thought of a couple. And I was like, and it was at that moment where I was like, wait, they're people. And they do things for a reason. And they're probably hurting me because they're hurting. Like, they're inside, something is not okay. Maybe it's family life. In fact, some of them I knew it was family life. Some of them just happen to be trained like to do bad things because they're around bad people. Some of them, it was like, yeah, I kind of egged them on accident. I annoyed them. I can see that. Like, and just recognizing that, like, I'm a part of this, but I'm like able to understand them, at that moment, I was able to turn the switch back off and start empathizing with people, start finding compassion for people, and start being able to feel again, right? And so, some of you pointed to that in chat, something along the lines of sort of understanding other people can help you turn that switch back on for feeling emotions. And I would say that I reverberate that, I guess. Yeah. Because that's exactly what happened to me. As soon as I started to feel compassion for other people, like started to not even compassion yet, it was understanding that there was a reason behind their actions, starting to recognize them as human beings, just like myself, and that they think and they do and they have feelings and so on. It was at that moment where I was like, vulnerability became a good thing, because vulnerability allows for compassion. And then I was able to turn that back on. So you might have to experience something like that. I don't know. But these are just some things, some pointers that maybe help steer you in the right direction. Overall, my best recommendation would be, if it persists and nothing we say is helpful, go see a therapist. Because they've trained to understand this. They meet people all the time who have shut down. So they're going to be the best at this, but way better than me. So right. Joe has some experience with them, and he's probably going to be better at this than I am. So I'm going to give it over to him. So
hey, I don't know if I'm going to be better at this than you. What you were saying is very profound and very, very, I think it's awesome, because one of the things that's super important. Oh, also, Katz, I am going to quote you on that, because I think you're absolutely right. I feel like people process emotions differently as well. You know, we all process things differently. Emotions, this is a very personalized experience. Now, here's the thing about emotions. They're suggestions. They're not commands.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They are real and they're valid. And one of the things that one of the things that I had to learn to understand was that it was okay and valid for me to be angry. There are a lot of things that could make me angry and should make me angry. There are a lot of reasons why that I should feel a lot of these emotions that I have. And, like as I was talking to my therapist, she was helping me understand these things, and that it's okay to have these emotions and to express them and to experience them. And what I'm hearing from you is that, maybe, Frisk, one of the things that might have happened is maybe you have shut yourself down to some degree here, and you're wanting to get this back. And I would 100% agree with Ryan that if this seems to be a problem that you're not getting any headway with, then definitely I would make an appointment with a counselor or a therapist or somebody to talk to about this, because they're going to help. They're going to be able to guide you personally. They're going to have the time to ask you the right questions, to get to the bottom of what the actual issue is that's going on, that point where you did shut down. And they're going to be able to find that spot and be able to poke at it and reopen it up again. A lot better than we can in like a 20-minute segment on a show, right? Yeah. So, but I can tell you this: I can't speak to the sadness, the crying, that kind of stuff. I can't speak to that particular one, but I can talk about my therapist and helping me understand that anger was okay, and because I had shut anger down in my life. I had absolutely shut it down. I had buried it. I had, like anytime I would get angry, I'd shut down that I would just dismiss it. Well, I thought I had dismissed it. What I had done is I'd shove it all down and just like hide it. I was still experiencing it, but I just thought I was controlling it. But what I was doing was I was just burying it and burying it and burying it and burying it and burying it, and that's what was happening. So what she had to do with me, what my therapist ended up having to do was she's like, okay, what I need you to do is make yourself angry. You need to, listen to music that makes you angry. You need to experience things, watch movies that make you angry. You need to do these things that make you angry. Sister Fresh said, I've heard bottling things isn't good, but I feel like I do have a problem with that too. But I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. Well, I'm glad that it's not as bad as it used to be, but yes, bottling things up is definitely counterproductive. Now, here's the thing. We don't need to express our emotions all over willy-nilly in everybody's company all over the world, right? We don't have to do this. We don't have to be like super emotional around everybody. We can do this in appropriate times and places, right? And it's okay to be in control and to have some self-control. But rather than bottling it up, to make sure when something upsets us that we give ourselves the chance to express those emotions, whether we're by ourselves or with people we trust or with a counselor or whatever, right? To make sure that we're giving ourselves the time to express those. Because, and so, like I said, with what my therapist was telling me to do, she's like, okay, this is anger. This is how you're going to deal with it because you have a lot of things that are angry. What you've done is over the years, you've bottled it up and you've buried it, and now it's frozen and it's become depression. And so now we're dealing with this big ball of like serious, severe depression that is brought on from you bottling up your anger. So she would have me put on like angry music, make myself angry. I want you to make yourself so mad that you want to do something and then do something physical, whether it's play drums, whether it's workout, whether it's, exercise, whatever, something, punch a punching bag, do a bunch of push-ups, exhaust yourself physically, whatever it is, do something physical because that's related to anger. Now, when it comes to crying, if you've shut down crying, have you shut down sadness? These are questions you don't have to answer to me right now, but if it's just crying is the problem, then maybe sadness is the thing. Or maybe just a depth of emotion because like Outcast was saying, we all process emotions differently. We all experience emotions differently. Some of us cry when things are happy. My mom, she just cries, especially when things are happy. She'll be at a wedding and it's like the happiest moment of her life.
Mm-hmm.
And so she'll start crying, like
Sounds
weeping, right? Yeah. You know my mom.
Mm-hmm. She's awesome.
Yep, she sure is. But those happy moments bring that depth of emotion that spark those tears to come streaming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's sweet. Yeah. But anyway, so I want to reiterate what Ryan said. It's okay. It's okay that you've shut off the crying for right now. You're okay. Whatever reasons that led you to this, it's okay. You're okay. If you're feeling that you need to cry, like you're feeling built up, pent up emotion and you can't release them, and you feel like crying is the way that you're going to do it, and you can't, then that might be a time to talk with a counselor. It might be time to, you can try this. I don't know if it would work, but I'm going to kind of go along the same logical path as my therapist and say if you watch things that would make you sad or emotional to try and spark those tears to come, you can try that because we can use these sources, right? It's like I'd listen to Rage Against the Machine. Not necessarily condoning listening to Rage Against the Machine, but it made me angry. Because there was a lot of stuff about injustice in there. And injustice is one of the things that makes me really, really upset. And so I would just get super mad. And I would just like play my drums and then go punching bags. And some days I'd just get so exhausted because of all the physical, intense stuff that I was doing to process anger. So you can try the same thing, but with sadness or something emotional or whatever, right? Something heartfelt that tugs at your heartstrings that makes you get a little choked up.
Mm.
And maybe a tear starts to form. And that might crack the door open just enough to start that process again, right? That might be just enough. But if it's just the fact that you feel like you ought to be crying because it seems appropriate to cry, but you are not, then it could just be something as simple as you experience emotions differently. I love that Katz weighed in and said, I cry when I'm angry. Because I'm like, I do too.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there doing all this stuff and I'm angry and I've got like tears. Like, I'm just like, but I cry when I'm happy too. I kind of take after my mom a little bit, like I'll cry in the weirdest moments. I'll be at the movies with my kids. It'll be a Disney movie and I'll start crying.
How humiliating. No, I'm kidding.
Right? So that's when I act like I fell asleep or something,
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, your eyes are all puffy. Yeah, it's alright. Couldn't stay
I was
awake.
just taking a nap. Like, oh, man, yeah, ugh, man. No, I
Wow.
wasn't crying. I was sleeping.
Yeah, wow, that's funny.
But now, if they ever watch this, they'll know. I knew it. I knew you were crying. But anyway, so those are some things that maybe you can do to help, but it might not be something. There may be nothing wrong with you at all. It may just be a way that you experience the world of emotion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, emojo. I'm an emojo.
Emojo is an emoji. Emojo. That's
There's
great.
an emoji. There's emojis and emojos. I fall into the emojo category.
Yeah.
Emojo Jojo. Oh my gosh. Emojo Jojo. Yeah, so anyway, Frisk, just understand it's okay. It's okay for you to experience the emotions that you do in the way that you do. And there's nothing wrong with you for experiencing emotions a certain way. It's, hey, we are all individuals here, and we all experience this world in a different way. We all see things differently. We all feel things differently. But your emotions are valid. Your emotions are real things. And I feel led to say this, don't let anybody tell you they're not. Don't let anybody tell you that you shouldn't feel a certain way. Oh, you shouldn't feel that way. Why should you shouldn't be that way. You should be this way. Who are you to say? Shut your mouth. So that's what I want to say to him. Like, I've got a little bit of attitude because I spent a lot of time with people, numerous people throughout my life that would tell me how I should or should not feel. And I got tired of it. Because you know what? You're not me. I am me. You don't feel what I feel. You're not in here dealing with this. Don't tell me what I should or should not feel. The point is, this happened. I feel this way. Now, it's okay to feel whatever way comes your way. But feelings are not commands. They're suggestions. And they're signposts to what's going on. The way we feel can direct us to answers, or it can direct us to more questions that then lead us to answers.
Mm-hmm.
It can direct us to learning more about ourselves. It can lead us to wisdom. But only if we can learn how to not let them run away with us. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to put our emotions in charge of us. We don't want to let them be in control of us. But we want to allow them to guide us. And I hope that makes sense. But anyway, that's kind of what I have. And my DMs are open. You can feel free.
Yeah, you can always message either of us.
You can message. I know I'm friends with you on Discord. So, again, I will say the caveat: I may not be quite as responsive this week. I'm in the wilderness. So.
That's fair. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, thank you.
Mm.
Join the basement entity. What's the basement entity?
We all are a part of your basement or something. We all live in your basement.
Oh, sweet. Me too. Let's all live in my basement together.
Wow.
It's a great basement. I'm not there right now.
Yeah.
So enjoy.
Enjoy it. Until I get back, and then there's rule and law again, and then good luck. But until then, basement ceiling's the limit, not the sky, but just the basement ceiling, which is the floor for. Yeah. Anyways,
the first floor, the first floor.
Yeah, the first floor is
the floor of the floor of the first floor. The floor, first floor, floor. It's the basement ceiling.
Flat Fleet, Flue Gina, Floy Floy. If anyone knows that song, I'm impressed.
What?
Huh? That is a song.
Flat fleeting, the flip, what?
Flat Fleet, Flue Gina, Floy Floy. Flat Fleet, Flue Gina, Floy Floy. Flat Fleet, Flue Gina, Floy Floy. Flodoy, 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 Flodoy. I think it might be Keb Mo. I could be wrong. Anyways, weird song. Fun though.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's probably not Keb Mo. It's some other guy. It doesn't matter.
Some other dude.
I guess to continue on the topic, I want to just kind of reiterate a little bit what Joe was just saying there. You might not process emotions the way people do, right? And so if you find yourself like something sad happens, but you don't cry, that does not mean you're a monster, right?
Right.
And I think that's something a lot of us have had to go through. I mean, I remember I had to experience that myself and be like, what am I, a monster? I didn't cry like everybody else did at the funeral. And it's just like, no.
Man, I struggled with that forever until I started to figure out how I was operated.
Yeah. It's just like, don't expect to be like everybody else because you're not everybody else, you're your own person. And it doesn't mean you didn't care about the scenario just because you didn't have an outward experience. You could be sad on the inside. Doesn't mean you have to cry, right? And so that's fine. That's fine. And one last thing, not everybody has the gift of tears, you know? Being able to cry at all sorts of different things is a gift. But it's also a curse. It's both. And it really depends on how you use it, right? I mean, no one wants to be a crybaby that just cries about everything all the time when things don't go their way, right? That's not, I said not everybody, Joe.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. I certainly hope you don't want to cry when things don't go your way about everything. But hey, like some people do. And that's rough. That's real rough. Like, you don't want that. That sucks. And you hope that they learn to get better to deal with when things aren't going their way, that it's okay and that's not a big deal. Like, most of our life is not going to be everything going our way. Most of the things that happen in life have nothing to do with what we want. They're just completely outside of it, right? And so there's a curse and a gift to have the gift of tears. But there are some people, it's like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful that they just cry. Because it means so much to them, and you can see that, and they wear that on their sleeve, and that's neat. That is not something that I'm capable of. That's why it's called a gift. And everybody has each other's talents, And so if you have people in your life who have the gift of tears and you don't be discouraged just because you're not like them. In fact, you have your own gifts. And the way you experience and handle emotions within inside of you, the stronger you get at emotional control, you are going to recognize at some point that what you have is a gift, whatever that is. So I encourage you to just, I'm not accusing you, I don't think you were, but in case you were sort of comparing yourself to the world around you, you don't have to be everyone else around you. And you don't have to experience those same things the same way as everyone else around you, so that's okay. Yeah. Okay. And you are what you are. And you have a lot of discovery to do when it comes to finding out who that is. And I know that because so do I and everybody else.
Yep. We all are in that same boat.
In this life, it is such a wonder that we get to discover who we are. We don't come out knowing everything about ourselves. We learn it. It's like, I had no idea that I was going to I had no idea that I was going to like spicy food until I'm halfway through my life and I'm like, I really like spicy food. It's like, yeah, okay. Partially that's trained because you can learn to like spicy food, right? But it's just an example. I didn't know that I was going to like music coming out of the womb. I didn't figure that out until I was quite much older. And the way that I enjoy music is not like most other people. Most other people like to listen to music. I don't usually care to do that.
Right.
So I'm a weird one, right? Just because I don't appreciate music in the same way that other people do doesn't make me any less of a musician, nor does it make me any less of a human being. I have a completely different way of experiencing music than most people. And that's awesome. It's a gift. Even if it sucks too, because it's a curse to some degree, right? And I get to decide whether I see it as a curse or a blessing. And it's both. But generally, I consider it a blessing because I don't have to, like, a lot of people listen to music all the time, all the day, and they get something out of it. And there's joy there. And me, I'm just like, yeah, I don't really get that most of the time. Every once in a great while, I will, but most of the time, it's just like, yeah, I'd rather not. That sounds like a chore. Listening to music might be a chore for me, right? That's completely weird. But yeah, so, but it's such a blessing. But it's also a curse because I don't get to feel that. I don't get to experience music the way most other people experience music. That's totally okay with me. And so if that's where you're at, know that you're okay. You're in good company. And that's okay, and you're okay. And I'm happy for you. But if you notice that there's this numbness that is overriding your emotions, and you're aware that it's happening, then yeah, try some of the things we mentioned, including going to see a therapist if it comes to it, if you're not making any headway. So yeah, that's what I got. I think I'm gonna give it back over to Joe to do whatever he wants to do with the show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the wonderful topic, by the way. You're awesome, Sister Frisk. We love having you on here every time that you're here. You're such a you're a joy and a wonder to be around. So thank you for blessing us with your presence.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you. Excuse me. Yeah, it's about that time actually. So thank you for the topic. Thank you guys for I'm gonna turn it into a Bollywood rave show.
Heck yeah. That's what I was hoping for. I mean, that was on my mind. No, it wasn't.
I'm not in the correct environment for that. I mean, I could turn any environment into a Bollywood rave show.
How long? How long would it take? If it's under 14 seconds, let's do it.
Oh man, it's gonna take me at least 15 seconds.
Yeah, okay, never mind. That's too much. That's ridiculous.
Can't do it. Sorry, guys. Sorry. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for the topics and everything. And Zay, nice to see you showing up right here in the chat at the end. You guys are great, man. I gotta tell you, thank you so much for joining us. And you guys, yes, 15 seconds is too long. You're right. But yep. Again, if you want to submit a topic, you can do so at don'tworrywednesday.com. Click the submit a topic button. Also, feel free to reach out to us on Discord. You guys know where we're at. I'm at plebnub, and Ryan is at static P with no hyphen. Exactly. And so feel free to reach out to us there. And yeah, we love doing this. We love being here. And I mean, seriously, like, I love it so much. I'm doing it while I'm here on vacation.
Yeah, that's that good.
I think that says something, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I love hanging out with you guys that much.
Yeah, my brother was like, hey, you guys like have been doing this show forever. You are free to take a vacation like from it. You're free to like not have an episode. You don't have to have one every week. You've been doing this forever. And it's like, yeah, but it's like, we like doing it. It's like,
I know.
It's like part of our vacation. It's like a vacation to go do Don't Worry Wednesday.
Right. The only times I don't generally make it is when I have stuff going on with my kids, which I will just give you guys a heads up. There's a likelihood I won't be here next Wednesday because of that.
Oh, okay.
Because it's Thanksgiving and I have my kids. I pick them up Wednesday. So
maybe I should
we've got a nice long weekend.
In Australia.
You should.
Yeah. Could make food.
You totally can.
Could make turkey and stuffing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's so much work. I'm done. Never mind. I don't want to do it. The amount of work that it takes just to make stuffing overdid it for me. You can tell that I am not an overachiever. I like to cook. Don't get me wrong. I love cooking. I actually really enjoy it. But yeah, turkey. We're gonna fit that thing. That thing's not gonna. You're right, Nyanzai. You're so right. I cannot fit that anywhere.
It is a pain to make a turkey. It kind of is.
It is.
You got to get up really extra early, and then like you got to make sure you set it to thaw like a week in advance.
Yeah.
And then like,
if I ever have to host a Thanksgiving, I'm literally putting that thing in the oven. Like I'm letting that turkey slow cook right before I go to bed. Because I am not getting up that early in the morning at like 4 o'clock in the morning so that everybody can have food at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just like, well, just let it slow cook.
I mean, seriously, I'm going to totally wreck Thanksgiving for everybody.
Uh-oh. I thought it was your favorite holiday, so
it is my favorite holiday, but man, I'll tell you what, like, there are parts of it that I can't stand. Okay. And it's that preparing of the turkey bird.
Yeah. Oh, deep fried turkey.
Because
that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a much better way. Yeah, put that thing in the yard.
Put it in the bury it for 14
Yeah.
years and dig it out and then have things. Fermented turkey.
But like, but seriously, so you put the turkey in the fridge and you're letting it thaw because you get a frozen turkey, right? And it's frozen. It's rock solid. It's like this big boulder of a thing, and it's in your freezer. And then you take it out and you put it in the fridge, and it's in your fridge, taking up space for like a week. And then it's not even fully thawed on Thanksgiving morning, but you gotta like reach in there, and they give you like the neck and the gizzards and the stuff and all this stuff in a bag in the bird, and you pull that out, with the sound effect, and then
you have to do it with your mouth and reality same time.
Yep. And then you got to reach in the bird, because when they're processing the bird, they don't generally get the kidneys out.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to get the kidneys out, because the kidneys are what filter urine. So you don't want that cooking in your bird. Well, most people, I can think of a few people who might like kidneys, but anyway, and what you find out that when you're digging those out, you discover your turkey's not all the way thawed yet, and so you like get these little cuts on your fingers from the ice inside the turkey.
No thanks.
While you're
yeah, that's scary. My mom, when she makes stuffing, she includes like every other part of the turkey that you don't eat. Not that you don't eat, but that you pull out for the turkey, right? So what Joe's talking about, like the liver and so on and so forth. And we call that in our house hearts, farts, lizards, and gizzards.
Hearts, farts, lizards, and gizzards, man. Is that the stuff that comes in the bag?
Yeah, hearts, farts, gizzards, and lizards. I don't know which way it goes, but yeah, it's like, oh yeah, here's the baggie of hearts, farts, lizards, and gizzards. Throw it in the stuffing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You throw it in the stuffing. We throw it in the garbage.
Yeah, well, most people do. I come from a poor family, so we learned.
Yeah, well, they are great for making gravy, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah.
All that stuff.
Oh yeah.
The hearts, farts, lizards, and gizzards. I'll tell you what. But here's the thing: I love to eat turkey. Right? It's just and when you get it done, when you do it right, and you oven roast it, and whatever, and you get it out, and then you carve it. Oh man, nothing like it in the world. It's so good, especially the dark meat. I'm a dark meat fan.
Oh, I'm a dark meat fan too. I'm a dark meat fan.
Yeah, the legs and the thighs, man. Hey, I leave the breasts and the wings. You guys can have all that stuff.
That stuff is only good with like a heavy coating of mayonnaise and mustard and whatever have you. But like dark
butter and gravy,
is actually good enough to eat but plain.
Dark side is juicier. Absolutely. It's so good.
Oh, smoked turkey legs.
We can all agree with Kat's squeezed cheese on top.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Squeezed cheese.
Squeezed cheese on my turkey Thanksgiving dinner. Oh my gosh, I love it. That's hilarious.
I was on my way up north, and I bought some combos. Those like cheddar cheese pretzel combos are so good. And right next to them was the squeezed cheese.
Did you buy it?
And I was so tempted. But the squeezed cheese was like almost $7 at a gas station for a can of squeezed cheese.
Yeah, that's too much.
I was like, oh, dude. Yeah, combos are the bomb, dude.
Yeah, I haven't.
$7 for squeezed cheese, but I woulda, man. Squeezed cheese on my combos.
Yeah, why not?
That'd be so good.
Which combos do you like the most?
Cheddar cheese pretzel.
Oh, the cheddar cheese pretzel.
Not the pizza. I like the cheddar cheese ones, and the pretzel ones are good, and the cracker ones are good. I think I like the pretzel ones better. But
interesting. Yeah, I've only had the cracker ones once. I liked them. I think the pretzel ones sometimes. Okay, if the bottom of the bag is too salty on the combos for me, but I do prefer the pretzel ones. They're the originals and they taste better.
Yeah, I think those are good. Nacho cheese. Oh, nacho cheese ones are good. Yes.
We're talking about Lunchables? Combos. Oh, no. I mean, Lunchables are great. We're talking about combos, but Lunchables.
Cheese and chocolate.
I haven't had that in forever.
Oh, Yeah. Yes, Colin, you're right. It's not about the product that costs the money. It's the packaging on the squeeze cheese. Yes, I get it. I get it. But man, it's so good. And you know what? But at $7 a can, I'm like, if there was a Walmart around, I probably could have gotten it cheaper. But it was a gas station, right? So gas station, everything's more expensive.
Yeah, Cal, I never had Lunchables growing up either. They were too expensive for my mom to buy it. She's like, that's a waste of money. I'm going to make you a better meal that's just like with real ingredients. Well, so Lunchables, if we ever got them, it was like a special occasion type deal. Or my mom wanted to splurge on us, but generally it was like, yeah, that was a not a good use of money for her.
Yeah. No, I mean, because you can make all the components of a Lunchable for way cheaper than a Lunchable.
Way cheaper. Yeah.
Way cheaper than a Lunchable.
Yeah.
I mean, I can cut up some American cheese for you in the little squares. Give you a handful of crackers and some little pieces of bologna. Like
yeah. You're like, there you go. Here's your like a 50-cent lunch. Yeah, we didn't have to pay like $9 for the package. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
What do you mean, outcats? And like you saying squeeze cheese. I like you saying squeeze cheese. And Saule, yes, for $7, I'd prefer to get some good aged cheese too. I'd get some aged squeeze cheese.
The hard stuff?
Because that stuff lasts forever.
Oh. I thought you meant the hard stuff that comes out the top.
The crust that comes out the top after it's already opened and it dries out, and then like you got that little hard plug thing that comes.
Yeah, we had a meme. I need to like this needs to be like.
I put it on here.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, you know what's not half? It's like two coworkers come up to meet each other and like one's like, hey, you know what's not half that? Not that. What is it? Not half bad. That's what it is. You know, it's not half bad. That crust on top of the squeezed cheese containers. And it's like, dude, you're disgusting. Get out of here. It's just like a meme where it's just like people go, you know, it's not half bad. And then you say something.
The crust that forms on the top of the squeeze, on the top of the cheese whiz, the jar of cheese whiz. Because it dries up and everything gets all crusty and.
Yeah, it sounds gross, but I'm still hungry. Yeah.
Oh, I aged it in my pocket.
Oh no!
Oh my god! Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway, on this note, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for having fun with us. We love you guys so much, and we're so glad that you can join us for Don't Worry Wednesday. We'll be happy to see you next time. If I don't see you next Wednesday, then happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And if I do, then I'll wish it to you then too. But otherwise, I'm sure we'll get something figured out.
Thanks for the cheese.
Anyway, yes. You guys are awesome. And Saule, thank you for putting that in the chat. Yes, you can click right there. If you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, go to don'tworrywednesday.com. Click that submit a topic button, fill out the form, and we'd be happy to talk about your topic. Until then, don't forget, be kind to yourself. Take good, wonderful care of yourself. And
that person is interesting.
It is.
Trust me.
We love you. We love you, and we want to see you guys flourish and have a wonderful life. So until next time, we'll see. Until next time, we'll see you later. That's interesting.
Until next time, we will see you later. We will see you later. Until next time.
Mwah.
Okay.
Yes. Love you guys.
Okay. Love you all. You guys are awesome. Peace.
Bye-bye.